Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are around the world. This is a very short video in which I hope to be able to show you that managing projects is a little bit like eating cake. Witness, here is a very nice almond cake that my daughter made earlier this afternoon, which we will be using in a moment. So, before we get on to cake, I just wanted to say how incredibly impressed I've been by not just the quantity, but also the quality of the comments that you've been making in the course. They've been really, really good. So first of all, a big sort of virtual round of applause to all of you for that. I've been looking at your comments around the triple constraint, around some of the challenges, and I think you're right. This is difficult. Managing projects, I've never ever said it was easy. And you look at some other sectors, especially the private sector, and within that maybe IT, maybe engineering, construction, they invest a huge amount of money in this because it's so important, for their business success. And even then, it's really common to read in the newspapers or see on TV, that actually this big project has failed, that project didn't work, or that project is late or challenged or whatever. So this is hard. And then many of you are working in extremely difficult contexts. You're working where many other sectors won't or cannot work. You're working in very unstable political, socio-economic environments. And you're working in a subject area that's really hard. You're looking at human rights, and several of you have talked about the challenges of how do you make something that's intangible tangible? Yeah, it is hard. I agree. And then you're saying, well, when you've got these difficulties and so many other things are changing and so much might go wrong, it's really difficult to control the triple constraint. And yeah, first of all, no one said it's easy. I agree with you. But hopefully, cake will help. Now, and some of you have already hit on this, and there have been some really good comments about the need to break things down. If we're trying to, say, plan or manage over a 3-year time frame, it's really, really difficult. It's just hard. We don't need to make it any more difficult. Here we get to the cake. I could take the cake, and I could try to eat it all in one go. That would be messy. I might get sick. I might get indigestion. It would probably fall all over the floor. It wouldn't be very effective or efficient. Or I could, and here's one I prepared earlier, and I am going to eat this, but I'll do that after I finished. I can slice the cake. I can make it into a smaller piece, and the reason I do that is it makes it easier to eat. It's not going to be messy, hopefully. It makes it certainly easier to eat, easier to digest than if I eat the whole thing at once. And several of you have spoken about how important it is to look at your projects and find ways to break them down to make sure that they are realistic. And an added problem that I'm really glad that several of you have commented on is that many of you are working with grantees of different sorts. So you might not even be the people who are cutting up the cake. So there, of course, the challenge is how do we help the people that we work with cut up the cake? How do we help them design, plan, manage and deliver something that is easy to eat? It's much better to have several slices of a cake that we can eat than to try to stuff everything into our face. So again, I know it's a silly example, but I do think it's really important. When we can take a big piece of work and find ways to break it down, it's going to make it much easier. And then the triple constraint is a lot easier to manage because the piece of the cake, the piece of the project, is much smaller. as we go through the course, we're going to be looking at a whole number of tools to help us do this, especially when we get into the planning phase. Anyway, I hope that video was useful and be making more videos soon. Bye for now.